Welcome everyone to another RGL cast. My name is Jarrett and here with TC Mon and I bring you guys Anglerfish versus Froyotech. This is RGL Invite 6's Season 18 Week 2B. And Anglerfish, they've been off to a rocky start, and Froyotech somewhat the same, but they definitely have some wins under their belt. And if you were happy to see Anglerfish still put up a fight though on Snakewater yesterday, you'll be happy to know that it's another Snakewater game that they've chosen. This time, obviously, against Froyotech, where we get to see the debut of the new Froyotech roster, where they've swapped some classes around to see if they fare any better against their opponents for the season with this lineup that they're deciding to field today.
Yeah, they've kind of gone through a few different lineups. I think in almost every single matchup, actually, that we've seen on the cast, they've had a different one. I think the very first one versus Mama's Boys, it was Patty on Pocket Scout and Habib on Flank Scout, and then they swapped it around. I think Habib went on the Pocket Scout, and Patty went on the Flank Scout when they went up against Fjord Gaming, and now Habib has taken a step back from Scout altogether.
Yeah, you can see the rosters on the screen right now a bit early. The Froyotech roster, as we've been mentioning, it's Patty and Banny on Scout right now, with Laz and Habib on Soldier, Logan on Demo, and Hubert on Medic. And then for Anglerfish, you have the Great Mage and Golden on Scout, Tristan and Unicorn Wizard on Soldier, Mig on Demo, and Slice Rogue on Medic. Obviously, when it comes to experience, Froyotech definitely have more seasons under their belt. But Anglerfish, they've played with each other for a long period of time, even as people come and go throughout the time goes on. So there's definitely a lot of familiar names across the board that you're going to be able to recognize. Especially if you've been watching a little bit this season, like we've mentioned before, you've already seen these people been casted this season. This is not a debut for their Season 18 appearance, so you can maybe at least have some recognizable names there. But overall, I mean, when you compare these two teams just by the titles of their teams, I think you don't even need to know which players are on what team or what season it is to have most people say that, oh, Froyo versus Anglerfish, you know, Froyotech is going to clean sweep them like 15 to 20 minutes. But, I mean, Anglerfish, they put up a decent fight despite the loss yesterday, and Froyotech have kind of showed that not everything is clear skies as of late, and although every time they make a change so far, I'm sure there's plenty of people, myself included, that was like, oh, this will be better, this will be fine. But I think overall, this entire season so far, despite it being only 2 weeks, is a very good indicator that, you know, on paper is one thing, but once you actually get into the server, there's a whole lot of other variables that can affect the outcome of the game.
Yeah, there are a whole lot of other variables. Hopefully my mic doesn't start bugging out like it was earlier. So I apologize for that if you heard that on stream. But no, I definitely agree. There are a lot of variables that can take effect and maybe give Anglerfish, you know, potentially not the win, but at least a few rounds, because that is something that it could come down to in the playoffs race, and Anglerfish are definitely a part of that. Of course, we kind of have the top three teams, as we've spoken about before. You got Froyotech, we're going to see tonight. You have Jiminy, who we haven't actually seen on the cast yet, but just judging how they've kind of dispatched all the other kind of a low or mid invite teams, they seem to be in a very strong position to go to LAN and make it to playoffs. And then you also have Mama's Boys as well. So there's kind of your top three that you're expecting to be at LAN, unless, you know, something amazing or disastrous happens, like one of the teams dies. But that does leave a fourth spot open, and kind of the teams that you're looking at are going to be your global clans. They are going to be your Fjord Gamings and Anglerfish, depending on how well they do against, you know, those teams and the top three. They might be able to worm their way in and maybe snag that out if they're able to get the wins against the other kind of fourth place contending teams like Fjord Gaming, and if they're able to at least get rounds off of the top three like Froyotech and Jiminy, because even if they don't get the wins, if they have rounds and it comes down to an even win-loss scenario, having the better round win percentage might be the deciding factor.
Yep, and then even if you're a team who thinks that we're probably gonna get in, it's fine. Like Froyotech, seeding is still important. Like, you know, the difference between who your opponent is going to be, having a chance of not going to lowers immediately, as well as even if you're only swapping between maybe seed 2 and seed 3, having the advantage over the other team when it comes to the pick bans is crazy good if the map pools work out in a particular way, where you really want to make sure that you have more control over what the third map is, because who knows, it might need to be played. But speaking in the present rather than the future, we do have a match on our hands. We have gone live now. Any last-minute predictions for these two teams?
Oh, I am going to predict Froyotech. I think it's going to be 5-1. I would be very, very surprised. I've said it a couple of times about matches that I thought would go one way very dominantly, and I've been proven wrong, but I'd be surprised to see that not happen as we go live on the first mid.
I like 5-1 as well. I think it'll take a while to get there, though. We might see, infinite overtime, but you never know. It kind of depends on how these mids really go. We immediately see a double bomb onto Slice. He immediately surfs it, but lands on one of the soldiers' head, unable to continue to travel, and they're going to respond, taking out Huber in kind to fracture all across the board, more so on the blue side of the map. Great Mage taken down, only one scout left, 10 HP. That's not enough to fight. We'll get taken down as well. Patty on a 2K right now, and it's just Mig, who's dodging some lock and loads for now, gets the one pipe onto Laz, but at 33 HP, he's got to pull out a miracle, gets the other one. But at Scout class, no dice there. Patty takes a third kill and is the sole survivor for this Froyotech mid victory.
I mean, that was closer than I think it should have been if you are Froyotech. I mean, obviously, really great initiation from both teams to get onto each other's medics, but it just came down to a scrappy DM fight and a really great just DM from Mig to be able to take down those players. And now, it seems like Anglerfish, they want to start and get a little bit aggressive here before Froyotech maybe has their hold in place, but unfortunately for them, Froyotech seems like they does. Unicorn is going to be able to get the counter trade out. Habib over in window might be able to initiate in, but is going to get blocked by the rockets of Tristan, at least for the meantime. But with Mig going down, that's going to be, there's no stickies on any of these choke points. Froyotech are going to be a lot more confident to walk in.
And they've built so much better. This is something they could have used ad-wise, and I think they will just because of players, but this should have been maybe like a 15 ad, and it's turned into like a 30% ad. But they're definitely on the move now, just with the idea of trying to get the force out of Slice. Doesn't have quite yet, but they're just going for the corner cap. The Uber, unavailable yet, still 98%, dies at 98%. Slice should have had that Uber, but I think at some point when they were going ahead to try to make that saw play to get aggressive off of the later Froyotech deaths at the mid, there was a disconnection somewhere. Slice was unable to heal. Maybe too many arrows had to get put out, but either way, Anglerfish not having the Uber when they should have completely missed them this loss. And Froyotech first up on the board, 1-0.
Yeah, that was also actually very close to a really good, maybe potential hold from Anglerfish, because on second, they almost got the drop onto Hubert. I think Hubert was maybe like 5 health, but just managed to barely stay alive. But immediately on this next mid, you can see Tristan made his way through the enemy team's kitchen. Now going to be bombing in. Might try and land on the combo. No, instead decides to land onto Habib. Get some great damage. Laz is also very weak, going in committed. Gets so much damage onto Slice Rogue, but neither soldier on Froyotech managing to get a kill. Everyone else on Froyotech, even though they have the better health, just overall, they are going to have to back up. Patty has remained in. Gets a kill onto Mig. Taking the 1v1 is not going to become a 1v1 any longer. Tristan jumps in, helps his scout partner out, and that is going to be a 1 mid for Anglerfish. It really was just kind of taking down the Froyotech soldiers early, meant that they really didn't have anyone else to initiate for them.
Yeah, took Habib out of the picture and made sure that it was going to be hard for them to do that same double bomb because Froyotech didn't go right off the bat immediately. Going in for a sack now with his one scout down. Hubert surfs the first rocket. It's fine. So Tristan, that'll be a 1-man. Patty's not quite there on the flank to try to push through lower. So they are going to have to definitely go for some sort of soldier initiation here for a counter if they can find an open door. Habib eats a trap. Laz finds a way through, takes some damage as well, but so much damage onto Uni. 8 HP is going to live for now. But they took so much damage that they're going to heal themselves up before they can really begin to start pushing and prodding and making use of this Laz counter sack that went through. The lock certainly isn't going to help anything as a Great Mage. Immediately taken down from a bomb by Habib. Got hit, popped up, and unable to really escape out of there. So that's their quote-unquote sack, although probably a little unintended. Now Froyotech's turn to be on the move once more.
Patty's already immediately in. He's gonna be able to get in behind it, especially taking down Unicorn Wizard and Habib, taking out Tristan. This is gonna be great for Froyotech. They also force out the Uber from Anglerfish, so now Patty might be able to get in a position to try and go for the collapse. Instead, it's just gonna be Habib going so damaged, but it's gonna be Logan with the stickies, cleans up Slice Rogan. It's been a perfect execution from Froyotech. They didn't even have to use their own Uber, and they were able to get the Uber, get the kill onto Slice Rogue as well, and get the point. And there is going to be some shenanigans coming out from Anglerfish as they try and equalize the situation.
On multiple fronts as well. They have the sniper in the forwards and the spy going for the stab. Bumps it, trying to revolver him. 19 HP. Hubert is fine for now. They do see the sniper did take a shot, is forced to backspawn, so overall it was looking precarious from a bird's eye view, but Froyotech is able to get through it with our Uber intact. The sniper still on the field. They're thinking about maybe trying or popping straight into him. They're sitting there for a bit, trying to see if they can shake the sniper's aim. Hits the first shot onto Banny, but Habib bombs in 2 rockets onto Slice, unable to use the reset bind to keep himself safe, and the Uber immediately ripped out. Gonna lose 2. Down Habib and Laz, so no soldiers. They get Great Mage with the Uber, so Sniper no longer on the field, but this initiation from Froyotech, I mean, on paper it's good to go in because of Slice's immediate death, but dropping 2 right there when you're Ubering is not really gonna be the best move, so they're gonna go ahead and back up. Cut their losses, didn't execute how they wanted to, even though they did use the Uber. They used it soon enough that they are able to build a little bit of a smaller ad this time to still try and go. And Slice isn't healing for a second, so it's not as, okay, they just gained 10% ad out of thin air. That's, okay, even easier to begin to push now. And if, I think if we know Froyo, they're going to try to do something off the small advantage they know exists. Look, they're going for it now.
Yeah, they are going for it, already taking a lot of space before they even have Uber. Just the threat of the advantage working for them. They get the kill onto Tristan and Unicorn, so no soldiers for Anglerfish. They do lose 1 in last, but the bomb coming in from Habib, doing so much, takes down Ali. It's only going to be 3 up. They do have the heavy Great Mage on the Brass Beast. Can he beast enough? They're playing the point really, really well. Can anyone go to block it? I don't think so. They do force the Uber out, but it's just too much for Anglerfish to handle, and that's going to be 2-0 for Froyotech.
It wouldn't have mattered for this particular push, but I want to point out, because it's starting to be a pattern, that was a 15% ad, or that turned into a 30% ad just because Slice wasn't able to find someone to heal. Like, they're not on the same page. So I think that's definitely something to keep track of when it comes to the advantages on Anglerfish's side, because they might have some troubles later on in the future if they don't nip this very quickly, because we've already seen how punishing it can be.
And we all have to see. Hopefully they're going to be able to adapt. This time it's going to be Habib going into the enemy team's kitchen area. Patty going to be able to find one. Logan going to be able to be traded out. No demos on the field. Both teams losing their own respectively, as Ali Ketson does manage to take down Laz. Is being chased down, hunted over into Saw as Froyotech come in to try to collapse. Hubert going for some arrows of his own to maybe get a frag, but it's only going to be him and Banny, the last 2 left alive. Slice Rogue did manage to survive over on Anglerfish, as well as Ali, but he was a little bit disconnected, so it's going to be a tiny bit of disad, but I'd be very surprised to see Froyotech do anything with it, considering they have to wait for their own respawners.
Yeah. They know that Uni's not there, so maybe they can find an open door, but their soldiers themselves need to get there as well, so you're right. It's going to take them a sec, but, you know, they're still going to be pretty hasty about it. They're already at the window. Patty's jumping through trying to make space. They're buffed and ready to go, so trying to find an opening. Got a spot where the medic is to see if it's even worth bombing the medic, or maybe you just kill the demo instead because no beam, and they're opting to just drag their whole team there. They're saying, we're not afraid of the soldier bombs. In fact, they're finally going to go in. Uber, exchange, trying to get into yard, able to take down Patty. The Uber will finally come out from the blue team, and Slice needs to get out of there. Doesn't have the scout speed anymore. They're able to get 3 kills in the backline, though, so they're sacrificing their medic to kill the rest of the fragging classes. I mean, losing your medic is never an amazing feeling, but when you lose your medic to make sure you wipe the whole team, that's definitely going to feel great for Anglerfish.
That's going to feel really, really great. I also have to say that they had a really great shutdown of the Saw area. I think it was the Froyotech flank over in there. And then the 2 soldiers on Anglerfish, Tristan and Unicorn Wizard, were just able to take that 2v2, win it, and then just come back in and help the rest of the team with the post. So, like you said, it's going to be probably the best of an unfortunate scenario, losing your medic early, but they were able to make it work. And because of it, they are going to be able to take control of middle. Because both medics died, it is basically going to be even Uber. Slight ad for Froyotech, but it's just basically negligible. I doubt even Froyotech wouldn't do something with that even if they knew about it. So it's just going to wait for both medics to get this Uber up, and then we're going to have to see how Anglerfish want to try and break this. Seems like they're going in for a bomb. Good damage on the Cuban. Great Mage coming in. Not going to be enough to get the kill. It was looking close, though.
Yeah, high risk, high reward, except you can skip the reward part this time. Is being down to, and you don't even have your Uber yet to buy time. Nice stickies, kills Habib, definitely pretty aggressive there in the Saw. So there's a little bit of an opening here, however, they've pretty much lost the entirety of the room, as well as, it's happening again. This was a 10% ad, and now it's a 20% ad. It's not going to matter, but it is eventually. That's probably another reason why they felt like they had to completely give up mid, is they didn't even have the Uber to try to game positioning back at all, or try to be confident or anything like that. They get the kill into Patty, which is good. Overall, it's just going to be a trade, though, so it's not really going to mean too much overall. They're going in now, finding an opening. Actually pretty aggressive, considering the defense of the whole ordeal. They are able to make this in exchange. They give up a lot for it, though. Chaos abounds. Laz, kind of behind, threatens them to have to go back, especially with the player disad. Need to make sure they can extend this fight for as long as possible because they do have respawner ad. They just got 2 right now, but they don't seem like they're ready or willing to continue to spam this point based on the players they lost. So cutting their losses, not playing it risky after the risky plays failed twice in a row. The past 2 times they've really gone for something, and saying screw it, let's just go back to last week and reset maybe, go back to another mid fight, call it a day.
Yep, they are going to do that. They got Great Mage up on the Engineer, Ali on Sniper, so they got all the defensive off classes ready to maybe make this as difficult for Froyotech as possible. Froyo just going to have to try and either spam down the sentry gun or just go in to spite it and try it and sack onto Slice Rogue. They don't have any off classes of their own, at least for the meantime. They don't have any snipers, so we might see maybe a 1-man or maybe a couple 2-mans, and then if that doesn't work, they'll send someone up onto Sniper. Maybe it'll be Habib. It's kind of an interesting thing of having Habib not on demos, that he's allowed to really off class now, and it's going to be exciting to see if he is going to be an off classer for Froyotech, as it seems like they wanted to try and spam the sentry gun. They had both their soldiers over and lower, but they get stuffed pretty hard, so they're just going to have to get re-healed and either try and do it again or opt for something else.
Yep, and this gun seems pretty good. I think it has a good balance of covering drop down, but also kind of seeing a little bit of the concrete. I don't think it goes all the way, but even if you try to do a concrete push to spam the gun, you're basically stuck in a corner. They do double spam it, though. They get punished for it in terms of their HP, which is the norm, but the fact that no one died is a good step, which means they can go ahead and maybe try to go for it again once they get some arrows. Gun, once again, though, it's already built up, and even though it's just level 1, that's enough to kill Patty, who peeks too far through drop down, and a nice headshot from Ali takes down Banny. So no scouts, you gotta be pretty careful, because you don't really have promising soldier denial here unless you really lock down all of these doors, and considering there's 4 of them, I mean, Uni could have just bombed right there and got some rockets on Hubert, but will not go for it. They're taking some damage. Actually, they're trying to escape.
Oh my god.
Logan finds Mig and Ali trying to escape, but too many stickies in the way, and just bullied the heck out of them. The gun goes down as well. They're really trying to lock things down, prevent them from running through. They are going to use the slice.
No.
Doesn't have a target. Miscommunication on who was going to take this exchange. It's probably called by slice.
Oh, he gets Hubert though!
Hubert unafraid, but now there is a reason to be. Both soldiers, though, near the point. They take down Slice Org in the post, but not be able to get a lot of cap time here. They do have some defenders coming up, but not quite enough. It's this MiG versus 2 gets the one
demo
kill.
v demo.
MGE.
They trade,
they're all dead. They're all dead.
Oh my god, there is no way that Anglerfish should have held on to that. That's absolutely insane. I mean, Great Mage going for the headshot, getting it is absolutely clutch, but even then, that was looking like Froyotech had the better heals just in the post fight there, not able to do it. Absolutely insane stuff. It's rare to see a demo v demo 1v1, a true demo v demo 1v1, and the fact that they both traded is even more just spectacular. So it is still going to be Anglerfish on their last. The one maybe silver lining thing for them is that there's only a minute left before it goes to a round reset, so that's definitely what they're going to be thinking about. But unfortunately for them, Froyotech, they are going to have a bit of uber advantage, and they're going to be coming in with it, going to be going in. They take down the surge gun, and already Great Mage, very weak, caught out on Engineer. They just stand on the point and make it 3-0.
They were kind of positioned like they didn't think the Uber was going to come in right then, like it was even. But either way, that wasn't the main thing, because it wasn't like their combo died because they were caught out, per se. It definitely was the soldiers weren't able to really block. You see one of the scouts get on the point. I think it was Patty that started corner capping, and like did not see any soldiers in sight that threatened him, didn't have to get off of it at all. So a clean victory there in terms of rounds for Froyotech, is immediately fast mid, Laz going in, trying to find Mig, not so lucky, takes a lot of damage, is going to be out of the fight, finds Tristan and gets the kill on him somehow, who also tried to go behind. So inadvertently gets a kill there, now the ball's rolling in Froyotech's court as they're heading down towards Saw, trying to collect some extra kills. The rest of them pretty much did leave entirely. They have to leave one to cap, so it's a 5v5. They want to continue to try to go ahead and get this force, but they really only need to go for one pick unless they can find Great Mage alone, separated from the beat. Mig taking a lot of damage from Logan as well. Logan is bullying the heck out of the combo, gets a lock of the
Oh.
pipe onto Slicer. Gonna be gets the cleanup kill on the MiG. A last hurrah from Tristan, trying to get a little bit of damage or a kill onto Froyo, but does not really receive much more than maybe a splash rocket or two. So, you know, really going all in for it. Don't even have the mid cap. It's barely gonna start now, but definitely was the correct play because they snowballed that as basically hard as you could. And there was maybe a little bit of execution diff there, but at the end of the day, it nets them in a pretty good spot in the opposing lobby with full ad. Just gotta be aware of the Great Mage Sniper. It's up again. Dropped to him, once or twice already. Don't want to happen to a third time.
Yeah, it seems like they are going to go through Shutter and probably just insta-pop in, so hopefully for Froyotech, no chance of that happening. They are going to be able to take down the sentry gun, a nice little boon. As you see Tristan kind of wandering in, is going to be able to be in exchange with Laz and not get the better of it, and I saw the vision there. Sometimes those sneaky plays can work out, but that's just going to be one less soldier for actually both teams because the body check comes in. Froyotech a little bit frazzled with the Uber, doesn't get as much space, and they use a lot earlier than maybe they would have liked to. Banny not really there to help lead it in, so a bit of miscommunication, rare to see from Froyotech. Now, oh, Patty just gets immediately headshot by Tristan. I mean, he was standing still, but still, that's a not one that he would have liked to have happen to him. So, because of that, it is going to be Uber advantage for Anglerfish. They are going to try and push out here, but Great Mage going down. They don't have Uber Jescore yet. Now they finally do. They aren't going to lose anyone else. Hopefully, Habib gets a nice rocket onto Tristan, but I think they should have done enough to successfully get out. Logan still staying in here, but the back cap comes in. Oh my god, that was so close. They do get the force out, but Froyotech, they have to make sure they run away. And
Dude,
the demos
lock
trade
and load.
again. How does this keep happening, Jared?
Lock and load gave him the distance he needed, and the flank from the scouts are going to be able to make sure this does swing in Froyotech's favor. I was about to say that the discipline from Anglerfish was very commendable to see a demo and medic with disad alone in yard and not just go and Uber into them because you're afraid of the back cap, which rightly so. They held it for a bit and then tried to go after the cap was done, but execution was not quite there. So overall, choosing their foot, ad for the side of Hubert and friends as they try to work their way into last. The Uber is eventually used, trying to cross, not able to really find any kills. Corner cap this time, gets the flash onto Patty, cleans up Tristan out of the air, gives up a beep for it, but the other soldier's not quite there because he's dead for the second corner cap that happens after the flash, and another round gain in Froyotech's favor.
Yeah, they just need one more, and it looks like we were right. It is going to be a 5-something game. The question is, can Anglerfish at least get one round on the board, or is this going to be a clean sweep from Froyotech? And, you know, Froyo looking a lot better than we've seen in the previous matches, kind of starting to resemble that super dominant Froyotech form that we've kind of become accustomed to whenever you see the name. And we're going to go in onto another mid. Laz going in for a super high bomb. Habib bombing low slice road, just penned beneath the stairs like Harry Potter. The boy under the covers, unfortunate there. Unicorn Wizards tries to go in, gets a lot of damage. Mig as well with the pipes, trying to pull out another miracle, but isn't going to be able to do it. And that is going to be Froyotech winning the mid basically flawlessly. They did lose Habib, but that is a sacrifice they are willing to make.
Yeah, Blyce pretty much immediately died because he was under the stairs and can't really surf when he gets a soldier on him, so kind of prevented them from getting the heals they needed and arrows and stuff, even if they did, and like any little mini victories in terms of fights. But I feel like there's a severe like difference here when it comes to the overall spam coming from the explosive classes or something along those lines. Maybe Logan is just doing too much. We saw it a little bit earlier how he's hitting all these pipes and he stickies out the entire enemy team inside lobby. And it might be the big difference on mids as well. Almost just instantly killed a Great Mage. I think he missed one of his pipes. It definitely had the sticky damage, the corner cap. They bring Uni over, backs up. Heavy is on the field. Brass Beast for the extra damage. Mows down Habib. They got to get the kill here quick. Are initiating, takes down the Great Mage, but only 3 alive. They didn't make sure they clean him up fast while the respawners come in. It is just Banny against 3. Definitely a tall order. Can he DM past the heals? So far, it's still, okay, was 125 HP still. Elongating things for a bit, preventing Anglerfish from beginning the trek out onto 2, but they will begin it now with their full Uber, because Slice Rogue did maintain his survivability there, but some of the explosive classes in Froyotech are here, trying to slow things down at least a little bit, but not much more they can do. It's really the Habib sniper
Habib
show
on sniper
that could swing things in their favor.
He could. He's over in window. He's going to have to back up because he sees Anglerfish walking forward. They do have this Uber. Probably going to take it. Question is, can they get anyone on Froyotech with it? They are going to pop in. See everyone on Froyotech in their sights. Patty trying to go for the back cap, the flank shove. Buying a lot of time and space for his team to maybe try and refight if they want. They're trying to think about it, but Logan a little bit disconnected. Actually, no.
Okay.
Does manage to get the trade out onto Tristan. That is amazing. There, but Habib onto Slice Rogue. That is disaster.
Yep, no heals, just take it slow and methodical. Gotta be careful though, you only have so many players. Habib is opting to watch lower while the team pushes Saw. And Uni trying to find the timing to bomb in. Not time for a force quite yet, but it is time for a headshot. Habib gets the nice shot and a great mage, and Tristan once again is going to get thwarted in his attempt to salvage. So overall, Froyotech on top of things, making sure they can collect kills where they need to. And these last hurrahs from the side of Anglerfish to really help clutch things up when Slice Rogue falls is not really up to snuff right now. With this situation right here, with full ad walking into two, the sniper getting a headshot on the MiG, preventing him from peeking at all. Tristan's still dead. There's nothing they can do on two. They have to go back to last, and they honestly could just half cap, leave Habib, and keep going. No, they're actually taking it with the sniper, left-hand side from the attacker's perspective. Nice shot from Uni on the Banny, which is going to cause the force, but headshots galore, and Ali has to resup, got the gun down. Not starting the corner cap yet. The sniper is a huge threat though in the long term.
It is going to be a huge threat. He can just sit all the way back and take shot after shot after shot, making it so hard for Anglerfish to really kind of come in and try to block the point. They do manage to get their Uber, though. Patty is probably going to get killed over by the truck. She's buying a lot of time, and time for his team to get out. And it seems like Froyotech, they want to come right back in. The soldiers going to be bombing around, kind of collapsing on the Tristan. They do manage to get that kill. Laz is going to be traded out. Banny dies as well, so now it's going to be real call for Froyotech to back out. They don't have any scout speed. They don't have any really projectiles willing to play close. It's only Logan. Habib still up on the sniper. Great mage coming around. Wraps up. Oh, but Logan insta two pipes. But Hubert was just caught in way too far. And they might lose Logan as well. He's just walking forward, trying to get any damage he possibly can for his team to take advantage of. Habib is going to get deleted. As here comes Scout coming in onto Slice Rogue. Great damage. He gets it.
Just Banny left alive though. Did nice salvage there, but not really much left in the tank. Bomb comes in. Tristan takes out Banny. It's a wipe for Froyo. Side note, if anyone was curious why in the last push Great Mage just magically disappeared and rejoined the server, is because he used his crosshair switcher too many times and issued too many commands with the server, and it auto-kicked him. Thanks, TF2. So, hitting the scroll wheel a bit too hard there, but Tristan is going to get caught off guard. Uni got behind their through kitchen. They're trying to check it. They spot him, so he is going to have to create some noise here. They do go back for him, but not enough of an opportunity for the rest of Anglerfish to really push off of. They are in no situation where they can actually block this mid-cap going in Froyotech's favor. Maybe bought time for Tristan's respawn? Not even. That's a ×8. No soldiers on 2. I mean, Mig can barely even watch his traps. He doesn't have enough distraction to really go for anything unless it's super duper deep. Immediately bombing into him, he can't watch him. Even if they walk on the traps, he has to hope for a blind that doesn't work out. Back to last, and I mean, it's not really a crazy ad to work with or anything, so they can get this defense up. Last time they had a defense, they were doing some risky stuff, and it didn't really work out in their favor. The gun got spammed down pretty easily as well, so this defense definitely is not impenetrable, despite it being Snakewater, and Habib immediately skipping in, is trying to solve the problem and create the solution.
Oh my god. Logan still manages to get the sentry gun, and you dropped Wizard. Oh, what? It was a soldier in from behind. Tristan just throughout all that chaos managed to get onto Hubert, and Froyotech in shambles at the moment. Banny trying to go for the back cap. He has been spotted, and that's going to be a little bit of a 1-1 overlord. Banny actually wins that one. Nice stuff from him there, and that's just going to be a lot harder for Anglerfish to try and push out. They do have the 100%, but they have to wait for all their players because they have to worry about this Froyotech back cap, and there's someone trying to make that even more a reality. It is Patty up on Spy, lurking and lower.
This is the type of team to leave someone passive enough to make sure they could jump back to last. Usually the lower soldier could get there in time, depending. But they're pushing out. They're still lingering. I'm just watching last because that's... Oh yeah, Tristan's paranoid. He's jumping around, and Patty's not able to really go for it too soon. But how paranoid would Tristan be? Has to double back. Has the jump. It's only a ×1. Is able to seal the deal, and they tried to block this. Froyotech got really aggressive, and they actually did a pretty good job, all things considered. 3v3 scenario with ad. Even though they didn't get the back cap, it was enough chaos to make sure that it was a trouble for Anglerfish to really hold after they used their Uber and collected whatever kills they got. So ad for them, just gotta go ahead and wait for their team. They're in lobby just waiting for them, not afraid of anything that might happen. Trying to build an emergency gun, but it's not going to go up all the way at all. It immediately comes out the Uber, and no one is prepared to block the point. I don't even know if there were stickies on it, to be honest. They might have been elsewhere, but there was definitely not a soldier bomb, so points free, no contest, walk on it, 5-0, victory secured in Froyotech's favor.
Yeah, really great stuff from Froyotech all the way throughout. And I mean, Anglerfish, they definitely had moments, they had flashes, whether it was them kind of going for salvage plays, and I think they won a couple of mids as well, or at least definitely one mid. They had opportunities to maybe try and press the advantage versus Froyotech, but at the end of the day, Froyotech just a little bit too much for them to handle, which is kind of what you expect, but it's actually just crazy to think that, you know, there was maybe something in the back of a few people's minds that was saying like, well, there's a chance, you know, just because of how Froyotech have kind of done initially in this season. But it seems like with this switch of Banny back on the Pocket Scout, this is kind of closer to the Froyotech that we have all been accustomed to over the past, I don't even know how many seasons.
Yep, same main calling and pacing, which is the backbone of how a team operates. So it kind of makes sense that it's going to look more like the Froyotech that we've known for so long. So kind of makes sense, especially because like once that is in place, then any sort of diff actually starts to come into place and matter, because the framework is there for like any sort of like explosive or hit scan class diff to actually come to fruition. There were definitely moments where on paper there were things and times where Anglerfish probably shouldn't have lost as hard as they did, but Froyotech kind of poked and prodded and saw like, hey, we can get away with this. Where there's moments where they definitely, it'd be much rarer to see that happen, like very much surprised to see it happen against like prospective playoff teams that are shooing to get in for the most part. So they've gotten over the one hurdle, which is going back to a play style that they're more familiar to, but there's still more rungs of the ladder to climb, and some of those will have to be rematches as well in the second half of the season. So I think the journey of watching Froyotech and kind of seeing how they're going to evolve is definitely not over yet, even if this is the final roster they stick with. And for the side of Anglerfish, I mean, you know, you go up against Froyotech most matchups and you don't really expect to do too much, and you're happy if you get some rounds for yourself. But if you walk out with 0 as a team that, you know, is struggling to, you know, put themselves in the playoff race in the first place, and you can't be too mad at yourself. Just be happy about the little successes you have and try to learn from any pattern mistakes and go on to the next.
Yep, I definitely agree. Going on to the next is going to be important for all these teams, for Anglerfish and for Froyotech, because, like you said, even though, you know, getting these wins right now are going to be great, they've got some fierce competition coming up, because next week, unless, you know, things get rescheduled, which, I mean, it's invite, things can also always get rescheduled. It is going to be Froyotech versus Jiminy. I don't know. I think they have already kind of scheduled it off of the normal date, so hopefully that one should stick. But we've got some really exciting matches coming up next week, because this is it for this week. But Froyotech versus Jiminy is going to be next week. Mama's Boys versus Jiminy is also going to be next week. So kind of a week of Jiminy, unless you know, we have some crazy reschedules, in which case, oh well. But, you know, some really great matches to look forward to. And then, you know, outside of that, we're already kind of getting to the halfway point of this season pretty soon, and so we're gonna have some repeat matches after that. And, you know, it's probably gonna get down to the wire, especially for these kind of fourth place teams, Anglerfish, Global Clan, and Fjord Gaming. It's gonna be exciting to see how that race for fourth place manifests.
Yep, at minimum, a huge thing for the seeding. And then maybe even, depending on how things shake up, maybe even the playoff race, because you never know when dark horses will show up and throw a wrench in your plans, especially in a season that started like this so far. So, you know, you can't rule out anything at this point up until things start to stabilize more as the weeks go on. But besides all the matches that we have in store for the future, I think tonight is coming to a close pretty soon. Any final thoughts or shoutouts before you go ahead and wrap things up, TC?
Yeah, shout outs to you, Jared. Shout outs to Dolphin. Shout outs to the players for playing. Shout outs to you guys for watching. And shout outs to Spinach. That's it for me.
And definitely shout out to everyone watching. Shout out to RGL for another LAN season. It's always pretty hype building up to it. And shout out to Slamhouse for the tunes before the match starts.
Ooh, that's a good shout out. Also, quick shout out to the RGL merch. Buy it, check it out. It says winter. You can wear it anytime. Wear it to LAN.
The
Yeah.
TF2 crates say winter, so it's fine. seasons don't matter in TF2.
That is true. It's always sunny and sunshine, and it's always, well, actually no, it's not winter on product anymore. It's also summer on a product. So, oh well. But yeah, you are right. But with that being said, I think that's going to be it for us tonight, and whatever season you currently are experiencing. If you're down in Australia, have a fun winter. But we'll see you next time, probably next week. Same kind of standard days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, for some more amazing TF2 action. Until then, have a good night and farewell.